It's important that we understand that interviewing Donald Trump is not easy. He is a steamroller, cares nothing for the question. It's all about him and his answer. So I want to kind of caveat this explanation with the fact that I don't know that I would have done a better job interviewing Donald Trump. I do kind of take issue with the fact that the interviewer was required to say Mr. President all the time and use this term where you refer to an ex-president as the president. I personally feel that Donald Trump has lost his right to be called Mr. President. He's twice impeached. He's 4 times indicted, 91 charges, tried to overturn the election, stole classified documents and lied about giving them back. He's been done for sexual abuse and amongst other things. He really is not to be held to that standard, in my view.
After you'd lost more than 60 legal challenges, that it was over. Why did you ignore them and decide to listen to a new outside group?
Because I didn't respect them.
You'd hired
lawyers,
them.
Sure, but that doesn't mean, you hire them, you never met these people, you get a recommendation, they turn out to be rhinos or they turn out to be not so good. In many cases, I didn't respect them. But I did respect others. I respected many others that said the election was rigged.
So let's get this clear. You hire all these people who you think are up to the standard, the Donald Trump gold standard, and you have them around for 4 years of your presidency. And then when the election happens and you lose and you're not happy about it, and they're like, well, you lost. And you're like, no, I didn't. And they're like, yes, you did. And you're like, no, I didn't. And they're like, yes, you did. You're like, you're all rhinos. you don't know what you're talking about. I don't respect you. I mean, Donald Trump just blew up his entire argument about the election being rigged. He basically now admits that he decided it was rigged and it wasn't anything to do with anybody else telling him. I think that his lawyers in his kind of current cases might have an issue with that, don't you?
You called some of your outside lawyers. You said they had crazy theories. Why were you listening to them? Were you listening to them because they were telling you what you wanted to hear?
You know who I listened to myself? I saw what happened. I watched that election, and I thought the election was over at 10 o'clock in the evening.
You were listening to your instincts.
My instincts are a big part of it. That's been the thing that's gotten me to where I am, my instincts. But I also listen to people. There are many lawyers. I could give you many books.
Oh, so you listen to yourself. Oh, I see. This is very clever now. So you have all this advice and you have all this kind of infrastructure designed, like legal support and White House counsel and your attorney general and kind of, various systems and protocols in place for running a presidency. And you choose to ignore all of that and just go, no, I won, when you didn't. I mean, again, you are exposing yourself as a total idiot. And what I don't understand is that you proudly say, I didn't listen to any of the expertise. I decided using my own instincts that I had won the election. Like, do you not understand how completely insane that sounds? And how in a court of law, that argument will be kicked out in seconds? Do you honestly think that that's going to be your defense in front of a judge? I mean, your lawyers must be like pulling their hair out right now, knowing that you are going on television and proudly saying that your instinct decided that you'd won the election. It is, I mean, I don't even have the words, I mean, I know you have all the best words. Maybe you've just taken them out of my mouth. I have no words.
Were you listening to your lawyer's advice or were you listening to your own instincts?
I was listening to different people, and when I added it all up, the election was rigged.
So you were listening to different people, but you were not listening to them because ultimately you didn't listen to them. And the only people you did listen to were people that were, on the side of Trump overturning the election. The people that you listened to were insurrectionists. People that you had around you who were loyal and committed to team and brand Trump. That is the reality of this situation, isn't it? That you pick and choose who you have around you, you pick and choose who you listen to, and it's only the people that agree with you that you have around you. Now, do you know what that is? What you are describing of having people around you that support what you say all the time? Those are sycophants. Those are not advisors. Those are not people that are questioning everything so that you can make informed decisions, those are the last people you want to have around you. This is how you ran the presidency. And if you win the next presidency, God forbid, that's how you're going to do it again. You're going to make sure that there is nobody around who ever questions you. It's authoritarianism. Anybody who questions whether Trump is an authoritarian only needs to listen to these few seconds in this interview. He is an autocrat. He is a demagogue. He is an authoritarian. He doesn't want to listen to anybody. He decided he won. That's all that he cares about.
Were you calling the shots, though, Mr. President, ultimately?
As to whether or not I believed it was rigged, oh, sure. It was my decision, but I listened to some people. Some people said that. Like guys like Bill Barr, he was a stiff, but he wasn't there at the time. But he didn't do his job because he was afraid. You know what he was afraid of? He was afraid of being impeached. He was petrified to be impeached. And how do you not get impeached? Don't do anything.
That's right. Bill Barr, your Attorney General, the nation's Attorney General, told you you had lost the election and that it wasn't rigged, and you didn't listen to him. So you've now just admitted that you didn't listen to the Attorney General, which, again, just crashes and burns your case. And the fact that you don't realize that just proves how completely dumb you are. You are probably not just the dumbest president in history, you're probably just the dumbest person in history who happened to become the president because you lied about what you had to offer and you were outwardly racist and a whole bunch of people thought, yeah, well, let's try this. I mean, come on. You really now are an empty shell of a man who is hanging on to reality by a thread. And it's important that people recognize what you are.
And when I added it all up, the election was rigged. There are books
Were you
that
calling
are written.
the shots, though?
In fact, Molly Hemingway wrote a great book.
But were you
called
calling the
Rigged.
shots ultimately?
Excuse me. Molly Hemingway, who's highly respected and great, she wrote a book, a best-selling book called Rigged.
Were you calling the shots, though, Mr. President, ultimately?
As to whether or not I believed it was rigged, oh, sure. It was my decision.
I'm Anthony Davis. You can hear me every day on the 5 Minute News podcast, on Wednesdays hosting Uncovered with Ron Filipkowski, and on Sundays on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.